Welcome to Coin Explorer, and today's video, certain extremely rare, museum-grade, professionally authenticated examples of the United Kingdom's 2001 penny have reached recorded auction prices of up to around $145,000 under highly specific elite conditions. This does not mean that all 2000 pennies are worth such an amount, nor does it suggest that circulated coins carry high monetary value. Instead, this figure applies only to a microscopic number of ultra-preserved, highest-graded, competition-level pieces that stand far beyond ordinary examples. Understanding how a one-penny coin can reach such extraordinary worth is exactly what makes today's breakdown both educational and absolutely fascinating for serious collectors. At first glance, the 2001 penny looks simple, almost ordinary. It carries the iconic crowned portcullis design on the reverse and the striking Rank-Broadley portrait of Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse. Millions were minted, and most circulated heavily in pockets, wallets, public tills, vending machines, and transport systems. That is exactly why high-grade survivors are so rare. But within the world of numismatic collectors, condition is everything, and the 2001 penny becomes incredibly desirable when found in exceptional, untouched, near-perfect preservation. The jaw-dropping values you sometimes hear about arise entirely from this tiny category of ultra-elite specimens. Rare coins become valuable not because they are old and not because they are common, but because they survive in perfect condition while millions of others do not. That rule applies perfectly to this coin. The versions that reach extraordinary values, such as $145,000, are examples graded at extremely high levels like MS-68 or MS-69 by world-recognized grading institutions such as PCGS or NGC. These specimens show almost no marks, no scratches, no dullness, and they maintain full original luster. Their surfaces look like they were struck yesterday, even though they're nearly a quarter of a century old. Only coins of this caliber enter high-tier numismatic auctions and reach elite prices. To understand how such value is possible, you must understand the forces behind numismatic rarity. First, the metal composition changed in 1992, introducing copper-plated steel pennies instead of the earlier bronze ones. This made the 2000 penny slightly magnetic and more vulnerable to certain types of environmental wear. Second, the reverse design features the classic crowned portcullis, a design rooted in centuries of British parliamentary symbolism. Third, the obverse displays the 1998 introduced Rank-Broadley portrait, considered by many collectors to be one of the most realistic portrayals of Queen Elizabeth II. These design and metal details add historical and artistic interest, but the true value explosion still comes from preservation. Let's break it down simply. The difference between a $145,000 penny and a regular penny is condition. Most 2000 pennies have scratches, stains, rim nicks, bag marks, or general wear. They may look fine to the naked eye, but fail to qualify for ultra-high grading. Meanwhile, a coin that was never circulated, never handled roughly, and stored perfectly since minting has a chance to be graded at the ultra-elite level. If the grading authority later reveals that this coin is the highest graded example known to exist, collectors may compete fiercely to own it, and this competition is what drives prices into astonishing territory. The 2001 penny also attracts attention because of global demand for Queen Elizabeth II coinage. Collectors from the UK, Canada, Australia, the United States, New Zealand, and across Europe and Asia all seek pristine examples from her reign. The year 2000 carries additional symbolic weight because it marks the turn of the millennium. Historically, coins minted in millennium years often develop increased interest due to their association with a major calendar milestone. When a millennium-year coin survives in perfect condition, its desirability often grows even faster. The grading process itself is incredibly strict. Specialists evaluate everything: strike sharpness, surface reflectivity, luster quality, presence of contact marks, rim condition, and even microscopic abrasions. A penny earning a grade such as MS69 is nearly flawless, a remarkable achievement considering that pennies are produced in vast quantities and transported in large metal bags where coins constantly collide with one another. The fact that even one 2001 penny could survive all of this without a single distracting contact mark is almost miraculous. That miracle of survival is the root of its rarity. Looking at the coin in your image, it shows marks consistent with normal everyday use. The color, surface texture, and visible contact points suggest it circulated and fulfilled its role as everyday money. Circulated pieces typically fall within normal collector interest ranges and do not have premium option value. But that does not reduce their educational importance. Coins like this serve as historical documents, small metal snapshots showing how designs, portraits, and minting processes evolved through time. They help new collectors learn to identify details, study variations, and understand the fundamentals of condition-based value. What makes this entire story so fascinating is that the record-level price of $145,000 is rooted not in hype, but in verifiable numismatic logic. When millions of coins exist, but only a handful survive in perfect condition, the highest-graded examples become trophies for elite collectors. Competition for these trophies leads to exceptional prices. The more significant the portrait, the design, and the historical context, the greater the demand becomes. In this case, the transition-era Rank-Broadley portrait and the millennium-year combined to produce strong interest in top-grade specimens. The Royal Mint's production environment also plays a major role. Pennies are struck at extremely high speeds, often thousands per minute. Early strikes from freshly prepared dies tend to produce coins with sharper details and stronger luster. Later strikes exhibit worn die characteristics, making them less visually impressive. A top-grade coin often comes from early in the striking run and is preserved before it ever experiences bag friction, machine contact, or transport damage. These early survivors are extremely rare. Collectors also appreciate the 2001 penny as part of a broader narrative. Queen Elizabeth II's portrait series spans multiple decades, and collectors often assemble complete sets of each portrait and denomination. Since her passing, demand for her earlier portraits has surged. The Rank-Broadley portrait, which ran from 1998 to 2015, represents a distinct era many collectors now actively seek to complete. A flawless Annie from the early years of this portrait naturally attracts strong attention. So, can someone realistically find a $145,000 penny in their pocket? Technically possible, but extremely unlikely. High-value examples are typically coins that never entered circulation. They come from sealed mint sets, untouched bags, or extremely low-contact storage environments. But understanding how these rare survivors gain value helps collectors build realistic expectations. Instead of assuming every coin is valuable, collectors learn to appreciate the factors that truly create rarity: condition, grading, surface preservation, and certification. Ultimately, the story of the 2001 penny is a powerful example of how numismatics transforms everyday objects into extraordinary artifacts. A coin created to be spent, knocked around, and forgotten can, under perfect circumstances, become a record-setting collectible worth far more than anyone could ever imagine. It highlights how history, craftsmanship, chance, and preservation combine to create treasures hiding in plain sight. And that is the magic that keeps collectors searching.